TNKR Media.
Welcome to Inspiring Entrepreneurs Montreal, showcasing stories from outstanding business people across Quebec by FL Montreal, Dan Delmar and Ernie Furt, sitting in for Mike Newton with you today. Hello, Ernie.
Hello, Dan.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be here.
We're also going to talk about cloud-based accounting systems later on the show, by the way, for those that want to upgrade their technology. And our guest on the program today is Kyres from Group Commensal. Really interesting entrepreneur, Ernie, but he also is sort of a change maker. He was really a frozen fruit and veggie pioneer in Canada, and he's on the way.
That's going to be a very interesting discussion with George.
So Group Commensal used to be a chain of restaurants, one of Montreal's vegetarian restaurant pioneers, and the restaurants don't exist anymore, but George bought the brand and bought the retail business, and they do pre-cooked meals in the frozen section for vegetarian consumers. So that is on the way. And Ernie, let's start with the good news. Recession is coming, by the way. There's been more and more talk about this, more speculation that it is around the corner for early 2023, perhaps. Inc.com proposes 4 ways to grow revenue in a downturn. Here are some ideas. Deepen your offering for current customers. Become ROI positive for customers. Optimize your prices. Drive repeat usage. So basically doubling down, I guess I'm taking from this article, Ernie, is doubling down on the stuff that's working already.
Absolutely. Listen, you already have a certain customer base. What you want to do is increase their buying from you. Okay. So at the end of the day, if you're offering them other services that are complementary to what they're already purchasing, then they know you, they respect you, and hopefully they love you and will continue using you. So if you could provide them with other stuff that they could use that would help them in their business or whatever, that would be great. You have to be smart in these days. You can raise your prices to a certain extent, but there may be some, people won't be as tolerant to price raises. So you could raise your prices potentially only for new customers and not necessarily for the old customers. You got to drive that repeat usage. So that's essential to your success, because it's always easy to have to go with the same old customer, give them more rather than try to create that new customer.
And especially in terms of planning, crystal ball, Ernie, when is it coming? Early 2023, according to some Canadian economists, but we've been waiting.
And hopefully we'll continue to wait a long time because crystal balls are for magicians. I don't have one, and I can't tell you when it's coming. It all depends on what's gonna be around the world. War, oil. We have to see what people are going to do, and those things will drive it at the end of the day.
Fair to say, though, that one probably is coming soon, and that entrepreneurs should prepare.
Yes, absolutely. That's probably a certainty because everybody's predicting that.
What's the first thing on the list? I mean, what's the first action an entrepreneur does if they see this recession around the corner?
They have to tighten. They have to tighten their belts to a certain extent. Take a look around. Try to retain the best and the brightest, and try to keep their customers satisfied, as the song says, and try to keep driving their business forward.
Let's talk a little bit about talent now. Let's talk about retaining people. That's a constant on the season of Inspiring Entrepreneurs. Ernie from Inc.com. 5 ways to keep your people. What are your best ways to retain talent?
It may be easier sometimes to keep the older people because the older people have been in it and want to come back to work in an in-person environment. Others, the younger ones, may be more difficult. But the way to keep people in general is you have to have clear expectations and requirements. Plan and document a path for each employee. Communicate with the employee. You got to share the vision with the employee for the future of the company. Provide them with tools and training to make them successful. When we went on, let's call it pandemic leave, we were able to give people computers, able to give them screens, printers if they needed them, scanners if they needed them, so they could basically plug and play and be in the same type of environment that they would be in the office. So it's phenomenal if you can do that kind of stuff, because employees really appreciate it. You have to monitor progress, obviously, and provide constructive feedback to help your employees. Recognize their efforts. And at the end of the day, in any business, you get rid of the bad employees, whether they're virtual or in person. Bad employees just add to a bad environment.
Also, regarding talent, Ernie, a lot of these new terms, for some reason, they all have quiet in the names, but quiet fleecing is now the latest one after quiet quitting. This from Human Resources Director Magazine, HRD. Quiet fleecing, are you robbing top talent of time and money? What is quiet fleecing, Ernie?
Quiet fleecing could be like, stagnating the people's wages, keeping them at a current level, not taking into account inflation, and it's like short-term cost cutting. It's short-term gain, but you're going to have long-term pain if you do the short-term gain, because a lot of people are burnt out. The article talks about 81% of employees feel burnt out, and you need to manage the workloads. Okay, of employees, whether the good employees, we have a terrible tendency of overfeeding them. Employees themselves seem to be compelled when they're working from home to add additional hours, and sometimes those additional hours aren't asked for, but the employees feel that they should in order to impress their managers. So you have to try to delegate more. Don't overburden your employees, and just keep it going in the right way. And communication in every article that we've gone through historically, you got to communicate with people. They got to know what's on your mind. You got to know what's on theirs, so you can feed each other.
Lastly, on talent retention, perks. I'm not, I mean, part of the fact that I'm not so into perks is that we have a virtual business, and I like the perk of offering people the salary that they want. So that's my advice for entrepreneurs, PR-wise, is give people the salary that they want. That's the ultimate perk, I think. But Inc.com offers their suggestions for the silliest perks that don't really work in the long term, including unlimited vacation policies, open plan offices, alcohol in the office. That could create some problems. Crazy team building activities, and nap pods or on-site gyms, because they argue this leads to too much recreation. What are your thoughts on some of these perks, or the ones that you might actually find useful?
Well, first of all, some of them are useful. We have open offices, and it's going to be hard to change open offices over the course of time, but they will change because everything is cyclical. Before, every office was closed. Now everybody decided to have open offices. Alcohol in the office, not a great idea. It often gets abused, and at the end of the day, does not lead to more productivity. With crazy team building activities, they can be interesting, but do you really want to force fun, or do you want the fun to be organic with the people? Nap pods and on-site gyms, it kind of is an anti-incentive, because people see that, there's gyms and nap pods. I never really have to leave this office. If they feed me, I can stay here 24/7. But you don't want people to stay there 24. You may want them to stay 24/7, but it's not productive for them. And that's why they feel the burnout. Okay. The perks need to align with the employees' values, healthy and productive stuff that you have to do. And that's that kind of culture that you have to foster, a healthy and productive culture within the employment world. Empower employees to do their best work. That's what you need to do.
As we're talking here, one of my colleagues is texting me, when are we doing our employee activity? And I already know what it is going to be, Ernie. I'm going to bring everyone up to the country, and we're gonna chop some wood before the winter. Do you think they'll be into that?
Who are they chopping the wood for?
Well, for me, mostly.
Well, so no. Okay.
I got to work on my team building activity ideas. Okay, fair enough. We're going to talk to a man coming up that has had a really big impact on actually healthy lifestyles, frankly, across Canada. He's helped us get access to more frozen fruits and vegetables with his brand Europe's Best. He recently acquired the Groupe Commensal name, which he is using for frozen foods for vegetarian meals, distributed across Quebec in grocery stores. His name is George Kyres of Groupe Commensal. George, welcome to Inspiring Entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Great to be here.
First of all, easiest question, for those that don't know, there aren't very many, but what is Groupe Commensal?
Groupe Commensal started as vegan vegetarian restaurants. and then gradually introduced soups, fresh vegan and vegetarian soups. Has been doing that for the last 35 years. It closed its restaurants, and I purchased that company approximately 5 years ago, and started to redirect it into a transition period of introducing amazing new products.
So we're talking about just a manufacturing operation now. So the restaurants are
Restaurants are closed. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so tell me about the products. What kind of products do you sell?
We sell all kinds of vegetarian soups, vegan soups. We sell frozen meals. We sell seitan, which is an alternative to soy, where some people are adversely affected and don't want to use soy in their consumption. We give that offering, that alternative choice of seitan, which is a wheat product.
So you're in the food industry. You seem to like the food industry, and you have a history in the food industry. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that history in the food industry? Because I think you started almost like a baby in this industry.
Oh my God. Okay, let's do this. George Kyres and his family started a company called Four Brothers Supermarkets. We once upon a time, a long time ago, we had 12 supermarkets here in Quebec. We're one of the largest retailers, independent retailers in Canada, and gradually I came across an idea, because we had this. Our specialty was for the fresh fruits and vegetables, and I wondered why could we not introduce that same greatness and quality in frozen. So with that in mind, I did a lot of scouting and discovered that we could find some amazing fruits. And I launched a company called Europe's Best. Europe's Best was the first frozen fruit company that went retail. We launched it with a stand-up bag, which at that time was a first actually for the world. They've never seen a stand-up bag in frozen fruit or frozen or anything really, for that matter. Most of the bags were flat. Growing up, when you went to a grocery store, everything was flat. The bags were flat. I believe that consumers should be able to see the product, and that's what we did. Now, it's a company that became that launched the frozen food category. We did it with the help of Quebec retailers, and I say that proudly, because innovation is very difficult. When you go into innovation, you can always stumble and hurt yourself because some people may not buy into it. Some people may say, you know what? No, I'm not buying into this. And they don't support you. Quebec retailers supported the project. And subsequently, Canadian retailers supported the project, where today we sell more frozen fruits in Canada than frozen vegetables.
So, George, fruits and vegetables really a through line throughout your career. Explain why you stuck to that category throughout your career?
Well, I think it's in my DNA. It's in my DNA to really, embrace healthier living, healthier eating. I really wanted to put a footprint on this earth, and it's one of the reasons why I circled back and purchased the company called Alasko, who was my partner at that time. We owned Europe's Best 50-50, and I had an opportunity through the government of Canada, through FCC, who asked me if I would like to align myself with them in launching and acquiring Alasko 2 years ago, right in the full pandemic. And I said to myself, you know what? I think it's my legacy to leave to this Canadian country that really helped me, be financially great as I am today. I wanted to give back. So I said, you know what? Let's do this together collectively. So today, Alasko is owned 50% by Canadians through Farm Credit Canada, and 50% by myself and my two partners, Jerry Parlingis and Nicholas Bergeron.
Very interesting, Ernie. Finding some of these systemic issues. In this case, the difficulty transporting fruits and vegetables across Canada can turn into a cultural phenomenon. I mean, I think George is partially responsible for the increase in smoothie consumption, probably in Canada.
That's for sure. And being in so many different grocery stores, I'm curious with respect to the grocery stores that you're into with Groupe Commensal. How did you get into all those grocery stores? Did it all start through Europe's Best and you maintained the contacts? How did that go?
it's having the right products at the right price and being consistent with the quality. I mean, I think extremely important that you love what you do, have a passion to what you do, and have a vision to where you want to be. I think people sometimes get misguided by listening to too many informations and taking too many ideas and trying to do copy paste of things that have already been done. You need to have a uniqueness into your offering. If you want to be successful in the market, a has-been Me Too product is not going to help you achieve your objectives.
Let's talk about frozen meals for a second. They've been upgraded, I feel like, in recent years. I mean, I was just at the grocery store the other day. I see Joe Beef is in the frozen food game. Talk us about the quality. I mean, this is not the old Hungry Man dinners, right? I mean, how has the quality improved?
Well, I think people expect quality, are prepared to pay quality, are replacing the Hungry Man dinners at $1.99 on special to something that's still affordable, and it's affordable luxury. They want to eat better. They look at ingredients. People are obsessed with ingredients. They look at all the stuff, and we're always trying to improve the offering, improve the ingredients, making it healthier for consumers. There's no question in my mind that, I look at Commensal today and I still see room for improvement. And for 2023, we want to have even better products for our consumers. They want that. They want the freshness, the quality. They want it when you put it in a microwave, that it comes out hot piping and tasty, healthy, and more importantly, not be disappointed. There's nothing worse than seeing a beautiful packaging outside of a product, and Hungry Man dinners, as you said, have a beautiful packaging that looks amazing. But when you open it up, you're disappointed. Well, we don't want that. We want customers, when they open it up, to see exactly what they saw on the picture.
So what are the next steps for Groupe Commensal?
Next steps for Groupe Commensal is to introduce Groupe Commensal to the rest of the country. One thing that the past management had never done is exit outside of Quebec. And it's not that easy because, again, we're a Quebec company, local company, and all the packaging and everything is formed around, Quebec culture. Canadians we're all Canadians, but Quebecers are different than the rest of the country, and they're different in everything. Why? Because they maintain a more of an English culture, not a French culture, and that distinction is huge.
But George was also really involved for much of his life in fruits and vegetables here in Montreal, co-founders with his family of the Four Brothers chain, which we all remember, and later as well the Europe's Best frozen fruits and veggies chain. So George, you were saying how you pioneered the stand-up plastic bags now that we all find in grocery shelves in the frozen section for those fruits and veggies?
Actually, now the stand-up bag is everywhere in every single category in supermarkets. Europe's Best launched in 2001. It launched an array of frozen fruits, blueberries, raspberries, 4-berry mixes, strawberries, eventually sliced strawberries, then mango, and then we had all the different kind of blends. And then while I was doing the frozen fruits, I looked at the frozen vegetable category and said, God, we could do better than peas and carrots and broccoli and cauliflower. And that's where I got the inspiration to do some blends, some interesting blends, Asian blends, Indian blends, some exotic blends. And again, with the stand-up pouch and the quality being in there with the real baby corns and all that kind of stuff, it became, today you can see that these blends have transitioned to all the different kind of companies who are doing the same kind of stuff. But it was interesting that we were the first to come out with the frozen fruits and then subsequently the frozen veggies under the brand called Europe's Best in a stand-up bag, which before Europe's Best, everything was flat. The whole supermarket industry was flat. All bags were flat.
I have a question on the tech, on the frozen tech, because I do remember buying frozen fruits and veggies back in the day, and I remember they were always kind of freezer burned, and then something happened, and perhaps you were part of that. The products got better. Is it flash freezing? What happens in the process to make it better?
Before Europe's Best, everything was block frozen. So they had an offering of strawberries, but they were like little boxes, Some of them had syrup in them, or they were block frozen. So there was, and then there was an offering of blueberries in a tub, and those two were block frozen. Everything was block frozen. In the industry, in the food industry, we had introduced a thing called IQF, individually quick frozen products, and that was just as it was starting at that time. I mean, it was there, but it was just starting. And that's the process that we used to launch those frozen foods. So they were frozen, each individual fruit by itself, so nothing was sticking together. And when they defrosted, or when you used it, and what we taught consumers to do in Canada was to use making smoothies. We felt there was, there's always a rush in the morning. Your kids are late; they get late to get dressed up. They don't want to go to school, or they're, and they don't want to eat their breakfast. But a nice smoothie, which and then transitions into a milkshake, especially if you add milk or any type of juice you put, they say, "Wow, thank you, Mom, I love this," and they can drink it while they're being driven to their schools. And this was something that it was very, very important to me. How can I give the children something better to eat and yet not take up time? And that's where we pushed very strongly on using, and we did it with media. We spent a lot of money doing it, but it paid off in dividends.
With all the fruits and vegetables and the pandemic, subsiding at this point in time, are you still faced with any supply chain issues in getting the fruits and vegetables here, or are you dealing more with local producers? How are you dealing with that?
We're the way we deal with that is migrating to other countries. And I want to be very honest about that. Traditionally, before the pandemic, we were very traditional in bringing products in from China, in from Europe, and in from Mexico and South America. And those traditional countries like Chile, Mexico, Poland, Belgium, France, and China were our traditional countries to support the frozen fruits and frozen vegetable programs with the Alaska brand. Because today we don't own anymore Europe's Best. We sold it to Smuckers, an American company, in 2008. And since then, the company Alaska was a company that was my partner, 50% owner of Europe's Best with me at that time. And I circled back and bought it 2 years ago. What we've done in Alaska is, because we were definitely had issues. We had issues where we had a boat in the Nile River, and you couldn't bring anything from there. We had issues with droughts. Like right now, we have issues in Spain, where we traditionally brought a lot of the products from Spain. They've had a huge drought. Their crops have been decimated. We have a war in Ukraine, which all these countries are bordering right next door. So what we've done is we've opened up new countries. We've opened up Turkey. We've opened up Egypt. We've opened up India. We've opened up Vietnam. We've gone to all these new countries, and they got the state of the art new plants up. The safety issues are not there at all. We watch though. We continuously monitor that for safety to make sure that these countries do not cut short anything. So we have people at these countries online verifying, making sure by third parties that everything is 1,000% safe. And it gives us the opportunities to do two things. Number one, having access to a different place and securing volumes that we need for our business. But number two, and more importantly, keeping inflation down. Honestly, my strategy right now is to put into effect in 2023 no price increases. I repeat, no price increases. We want to get that inflation down. We saw in 2020 and 2021 and 2022 huge price increases. And it's been in every sector, and you know what? Consumers need and deserve our work to maintain prices at the lowest possible and maintaining the quality, not taking any issues when it comes compromising any issues when it comes to quality.
Excellent. George, that's it. You push back at the supply chain. I got to ask about the Smuckers deal, by the way. Giant jam conglomerate in the States. How did you get in there, and how was that negotiation with them?
Okay, good question. I'm in Greece. I'm in Crete. And my VP of sales, US sales, calls me up and says, George, I've got amazing news for you. what happened? Walmart wants to list our frozen fruit products, Europe's Best, right across the whole country, right across the whole network of all the Walmart stores. And there was a pause in the phone. And he says, George, you don't sound excited. I said, yeah, I am excited, but I'm also very nervous because, here we are, we're going to have to, because you buy the fruits at crop. And, we would have to buy at least $50 million of frozen fruit to supply Walmart. And what happens if Walmart decides on a Wednesday morning, you know what, we don't want this fruits anymore. What do I do with that inventory? And how do I maintain the integrity of my company and not have the ability to pay my suppliers because Walmart decided that's it, I'm not buying anymore. So I looked for a partner. I started the process looking for a partner, strategic partner, who I would have sold the rights to Europe's Best in the US to supply Walmart, and strong enough financially and with the right networking that there would not be a disappointment. And I'd rather have a smaller piece of a pie than risk my pie, because I'm greedy and I want to make more sales.
Pun unintended, I assume.
Yes.
Now, George, I looked through the website for Groupe Commensal. A lot of vegetarian and vegan options, and that's fantastic. I'm a meat eater, okay? Do you have anything for me in the future?
No.
Okay, that was quick.
Clear enough, Ernie?
I think so, yes.
but I have another company called Alasco, and we supply all the food service companies, the Cisco's, the GFS's. We supply them all with beautiful frozen fruits and frozen vegetables. And I can guarantee their restaurants and their food service institutions definitely will be able to satisfy your needs.
Perfect. That's wonderful to know. So you're kind of vertically integrated in a lot of ways.
You're getting the big picture. Absolutely.
George Kyres, Groupe Commensal, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. You're going to hang on for a few more minutes. We're going to have your one piece of advice for today's entrepreneur in a moment. But first, let's talk about systems a little bit, especially if you're bringing product from all over the world, selling it all over the world. It can get complicated, Ernie. Let's talk to Giuliana Papandrea, Manager, Accounting and Assurance at FL Fuller Landau. Giuliana, welcome back.
Hi, Dan. It's so nice to be here.
And Ernie, cloud-based accounting systems is the topic today. So obviously, at this point, everything has to be in the cloud. I assume you're in the cloud as well?
Well,
sometimes we're in the clouds, but that's a whole different conversation that we're not going to have.
Well, you're all the way up there on all the way. What is it, 20th floor at Place du Canada? It looks like you're in the clouds.
A little. We're not that high up. So Giuliana, let's get into the cloud-based accounting systems. What is a cloud-based accounting system?
Okay, Ernie. So cloud-based accounting systems are systems that are on a cloud, as we know. They allow employees to work remotely. All you really need to log on is a subscription and a fast and reliable internet connection. So the system can be accessed from basically any location at any time of day, as opposed to desktop software that's limited to a specific computer or a set of computers. And, it remains very accessible and very flexible, and is the main reason many small and medium-sized businesses are opting for this type of accounting system. Cloud-based systems are ideal. They allow employees to work in a remote environment, and we've seen how important that's become in the last 2 years.
Absolutely. So gone are the days of the general ledger and the 14-column paper and the payroll journals and all of that stuff. So all of it now is confined into the computer, stored on the cloud, and storage on the cloud, because people don't really understand what that means. Maybe you could talk about storage on the cloud for a second. I know you're not in IT, but you can explain that a bit if possible.
Yes. So basically what happens is there's no longer a need for any system updates or any backups, because the cloud is backed up automatically, or there are some scheduled backups, but it's all done on off-site servers online with the cloud. So you don't need an IT professional. You don't need anyone to help you with these types of backups and updates. It's all done by the system itself.
Wow, that's amazing. And who would benefit most from using these systems?
Well, those who would benefit most, like I mentioned, would be small and medium-sized businesses that want to increase cost efficiency and flexibility. by allowing the employees to work remotely and without sacrificing data breaches, of course. And the systems allow for like real-time collaboration between team members and clients by allowing remote access. The information always remains streamlined, accurate, and up to date. System access can be granted to various users, and each user can have their own set of restrictions. And what I think is the most versatile part of this is that bank and credit card transactions can be linked, automatically imported into the cloud, minimizing the use of manual entries.
And errors.
And errors, exactly. And all you basically have to learn how to do is match your entries to the sales or expense. And another, there are third-party apps too that also exist that allow you to import your sales invoices or import, the payments you've made through your online banking. So it's very versatile.
That's phenomenal. And discuss more of the advantages and disadvantages of these cloud-based systems.
Okay, so what a lot of the systems have now are also mobile app versions of cloud systems. So you can have the app on your phone and you can just snapshot invoices and send it to your cloud. So it also allows for you to become paperless, much easier than having to scan or use the more traditional method of paperless systems. So that's one of the main advantages too. They're all in
so
some
you
cases.
could basically do your accounting from the Bell Center watching a hockey game.
Exactly. You can also do it from your a mobile app. Anywhere. You could be anywhere. You could be on vacation. You could be just about anywhere and take care of business as you go as well. And, as I mentioned, cost efficiency is great because you don't need any more software purchases and updates. You save money on licenses and upgrades. And how many times have you been in a situation where you're working on a file only to find out you have to exit because, there's a system update required? And this can cause office-wide interruptions. And if it's not properly planned, it can cause so many inefficiencies and lower productivity. So that would pretty much, be one solution.
And it's automatic saving, I assume, too. So
Yes,
so that's key.
That's correct.
Giuliana Papandrea, Manager Accounting and Assurance at FL Fuller Landau, with some tips on cloud-based accounting systems. Thanks so much, Giuliana.
Thank you, Dan.
And as we come to the end of the show, let's ask our entrepreneur, George Kyres, formerly of Europe's Best, now Groupe Commensal, for his one piece of advice for inspiring entrepreneurs. What do you think, George?
Dream and live your dreams. Do things that make you happy. Passion is the number one recipe to success. You got to love what you do. If you love what you do, you're going to be successful in anything you do. If you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, I'm going to work, it's not going to happen. But if you wake up in the morning, you can't wait for the next challenge to conquer it, you're already stepping in the right direction.
Love it. George, thanks so much for joining us today. George Kyres, Groupe Commensal. Ernie, next week we'll be chatting with Natalie Majerian from Cameo Collection, another really sort of classic Montreal brand. They do custom upholstery and furniture. And yes, Cameo is back, so we'll talk to them. A reminder, you can subscribe to Inspiring Entrepreneurs Montreal as a podcast on iHeartRadio, iTunes, or your favorite platform. And you can also log on to the website, inspiringentrepreneursmtl.com, for hundreds of local entrepreneur profiles. Thank you, Ernie. See you back here next week.
Absolutely. It'll be fun.
This has been a production of TNKR Media. Good talk.